Hi, lovely people. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Charles Peace. In today's video, we'll be making a beautiful bustier padded with yoke. So guys, if you're new to my channel, you are highly welcome. Kindly pause, subscribe to my channel, click on the bell icon to be notified anytime I upload a new video. Now let's get started. Now, for the items, I need a fabric. I'll use an African print fabric. For my yoke, I'll be using black sequins. I'll use a bridal sequence for the lining to this sequence, then a lining and a pattern paper. So guys, I will use a pattern paper to cut this. So if you have not watched, in my previous video, I made a video on how to draft a bustier with yoke. So if you have not watched it, I'll put the link at the description box. Try and watch it so that it will help you to understand this one very well. So guys, let's go straight to cutting. The first thing I'll cut will be the two sides. But I will add extra. I didn't add allowance for the length, so I'll go ahead and add extra 1 inch allowance for the length. This is for the two sides. So this for the center front. I will as well add extra 1 inch. Now this for the back is not having a yoke. So if you want to make it a yoke, you can go ahead from the bust point here. You just mark the same thing you have here, 4 inches. You mark it up like so and reduce it. On this line, you can go ahead and reduce it by 1 inch and reduce this upper side. It will not be your yoke. So for my own, I want the back to be normal back. It's only the front that is having a yoke. So I'll go ahead and add extra 1 inch for the length. Then I'll cut. Now open up the two sides. So for the yoke, I'll just go ahead and place it like so. Then I'll cut it out. So this side, I'm not gonna touch it. It will just be like that. So the lining to this is optional. So I'm gonna cut a bridal satin for the sequence. It's optional. You can leave your own like that, but mine, I want to line it. So I'll go ahead and cut it out. So guys, I've cut out each of them with my pattern paper. So the next thing I'll be cutting now will be the bustier for the padding. Now with my padded foam, so I'll cut out the two sides and the center front. So I'm cutting the second one, the second side. The next one will be the center front. Make sure when you are cutting it, it should be the same length. So I'll just place it. Remember, from the underbust, that's where the length stops. So you can go ahead and fold it. Now I'll open it up. So guys, after cutting, this is how it looks. You can see that. So the next thing I'll do is to go ahead and cut my lining for the front and the back piece. Now I'll place the back piece first. Now I'll first cut the two back pieces. I'll fold my lining into two in order to cut both of them together. After the two sides, I'll then cut the center front. Now I've cut out all the lining both for the back and for the front. Now I'll place the two back pieces together. I'll make sure both of them are aligned. Then I'll place my pattern paper on top of it to cut out the darts. From the pattern paper, I will cut out the darts. You can see it. You can decide to sew it without cutting it out, or you can follow it the way I did mine to cut it out. Whichever way you choose is okay. Now I will notch the zip allowance. I'll measure out 1.5 inches. I'll put a notch. Then at the waistline, I'll only notch 1 inch. I only notch 1 inch. Remember, we removed half inch from the waistline, so I'm still having 1 inch for the zipper allowance. Notch it. Now for the front, the center front and the two sides, I'll put a notch at the bust point so that it will rhyme when sewing it. I'll place my notch at the nip, at the bust point of the two sides of the center. I've already notched it from my pattern paper, so I'll then transfer it to the main fabric in order to notch the bust point. It's very, very important for it to rhyme at both the center and the two sides. So I have to notch them. Now I'll fold it to notch the bust point from the side. Then I'll pick the center front as well. Make sure the pattern paper and the fabric is aligned. Then I'll put a notch as well. I'll notch the other side of the center front. I'll put them aside, then go ahead and notch the other side of the front. Now we are done with the cutting. We want to start the sewing proper. So for me to join it, I'll first of all turn it like so. I will make sure the notch part rhyme with the notch part for the middle one. So I will go ahead and sew from the down part. I will join from the down part. I will join the two sides. After then, I will show you the next thing I will do. So guys, I've sewn it. You can see it has already come out. You can see the shape. So the next thing I'll do now is to sew the lining. Now I'll go ahead and sew the same way I joined the main fabric. I will as well join the lining. You can see I'll place it the same way and sew. I'll place it like so and sew the same thing to the second side. Now I've sewn the lining, so I'll go ahead and attach it to the main dress. But before then, I want to reduce this allowance here. Okay. Now I'll place the right side to face the right side of the top, like so. Then I'll go to my sewing machine and sew. I'll close it up. I'll sew it round to this edge and as well close up the two sides. So after then I will show you the next thing I will do. Now I've sewn it to all the sides, but while sewing it, make sure your seam line of the lining rhyme with the seam line of the main fabric. You can see that it should rhyme. So the next thing I'll do is to go ahead and notch, put a notch at the edge here. This is to make it to lap very well when I turn it to the right side. I'll then open it up and turn it to the right side. The next thing I'll do now is to top stitch. I'll top stitch at the edge, but I'm not going to do it now because I still need to join the upper part, that is the yoke. So if I top stitch and still add the yoke, it will be double line. So I don't want it like that. I'll be top stitching with the yoke all together. So this is for the main bustier. I will go ahead and keep it aside. Now for the yoke, I will turn it with my lining as well, right side facing each other. I will sew through this down part, the neckline. After then, I will show you the next thing I will do. Now for the yoke, for me to sew it, you place the right, this is the right side of the sequence, and place the wrong side on top of it. That is, each of them is facing up, the right side. So I'll go ahead from my neckline first. I will sew, then I will open it up to the right side. Other side is top stitching, I will top stitch. So I will go and sew it and as well notch the neckline. Then I'll show you the next thing I'll do. Then I will flip it to the right side. Then I'll go ahead and top stitch. I'll top stitch the armhole to the, then I'll show you the next thing I'll do after that. Now I've sewn the yoke and I went ahead to top stitch the down part of my top. So the next thing I'll do now is to join them together, but before then I have to notch the midpoint of this with my scissors. So this is the midpoint, and I swear, you know, this sharp point is my midpoint for the top. So I'll go ahead and place this midpoint to rhyme with the midpoint here, and I'll go to my sewing machine now. I'll top stitch. You can see now I can now top stitch. You can use your pin. This is the midpoint. You can see here is my midpoint. So I'll place it, but before then make sure the length is not shortened, because I added extra length for it not to shorten. So I'm having 17 inches. Remember, the half length is 16 and a half. I added extra 1 inch, making it 17 and a half. So I used the half inch here to turn it at the upper side. So I'm still having half inch for my joining down part. So guys, I will go to my sewing machine now. I will attach it. Make sure the lining is not showing. So while you are putting it, you drag it to cover up the lining. After then, I'll show you the next thing I will do. So guys, I've fixed it. This is how it looks. You can see that. So the next thing I'll do, I'll just fold this in for it to have neat finishing. I'll fold it in. After then, I'll show you the next thing I'll do. Now I've folded it, you can see. So we are done with this side. So I'll go ahead and tuck the back side. Now this is the back. I'll fold it to sew my darts for the two sides. After sewing the darts, the next thing I'll do is to use my lining and turn it with my lining, starting from the neckline. You can see I'll sew through the neckline first, then the two sides, leaving the armhole and the down part open. So I'll go ahead and do that. After then, I'll show you the next thing I'll do. So I've sewn the neckline, the two sides. So I'll go ahead and trim off this excess lining. It's because of the darts. You can see the shape. That's why I'm having excess lining here. I'll go ahead and notch the neckline. Now I'll turn it to the right side. So this is what we are having. You can see it. Now go ahead and give it a nice ironing. Two back pieces and this is the front. So I'll go ahead and join it. So now I'll pick it like so. I'll just wrap it with, because I've already top stitched the sequence sides. I'll just go ahead and sew it. Can see I'm sewing neat joining. I'll just wrap it like so. Then I use 1/2 inch to sew. The next side I will use the same thing, the same method. Pick it and wrap the other one to it. Then I'll sew. After then I'll show you the next thing I'll do. So by the time I join it, this is how it will look. You can see. Now I'll go ahead and shape it. I will not add zipper now until I join it to the down part. You can see I'm already having a notch for my zipper allowance here. So I'll go ahead and pin it, overlap it to rhyme with the notched part. If you want, you can sew it or you can use your pin and hold it. Then I want to take my measurement to shape the two sides. Now I want to take my measurement. My bust measurement is 39 divided into 2 will give me 19.5. I place both the front and the back together. So I'll mark 19.5. I'll go ahead and measure the remaining inches here. I have 1, 2, 3. 3 inches allowance. So 3 divided into 2 will give me 1.5. So I'll go ahead and mark 1.5 for this side. For my waistline here, my waist measurement is 36 divided into 2 will give me 18 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark 18 inches here. Then I'm having 1.5 allowance. So 1.5 divided into 2 will give me 1.25. So that's what I will mark here. So I'll go ahead and join it to this point. I'll go ahead and sew it. After sewing, then I'll mark the second one. Now for the second side, I'll just take it straight to mark 19.5. And this side I will mark 18 inches. So I'll join it now with my machine. I've actually joined the two sides together. You can see that. So this is the front. So in my next video, I will show you how to attach it to the main down part of the gown. So you go ahead and add any design of sleeve of your choice. And as well, drop your comment at the comment section. If you have any question on this, you can drop it at the comment section. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell icon to be notified anytime I upload a new video. Give it a thumbs up, share to your friends, and bye until I see you in my next video.